Hi, you guys. My name is Jamie, and this is my first YouTube video that I've ever made. I'm doing a weird cross-eyed thing, so sorry about that. I am so excited to make a video to let you know about my gastric sleeve. First, I have a confession. I actually have felt really crummy. I got my gastric sleeve on Monday, and it's Saturday. I even went to the ER last night. I'll tell you about that later. But I decided that I am my mother's daughter, and so the way to feel better is to brush my hair and put on some red lipstick. See, it makes everything better. So I want to tell you a little bit. Oh, can I put this down? Perfection. Guns N' Roses. I want to tell you a little bit about my journey on how I decided to have the gastric sleeve and what the procedure was like and what it's like so far. So, a little bit about me. I have been at least 100 pounds overweight since I was 18 years old. I truthfully had a really traumatic thing happen. When I was 18, I was pretty violently raped, and I gained a lot of weight, and I think that I just wanted to protect myself. And after that, I was just at least 100 pounds overweight from that moment kind of on. And then I learned to deal. I was the one who thought, oh, if I wear cute shoes, or if I have good jewelry, or if I have good red lips, that nobody's going to notice how fat I am. And I think I let that be an excuse for me for a long time, because I thought, work your curves, big girl, like, make it work. And I did that. But there's a couple things that happened. Like, one of them is that after time with my counselor, I started to heal a lot more emotionally. And the more that I healed emotionally, the more I wanted to heal physically as well. The more I stopped wanting to protect myself. And then I found a man, and I got married, and he is amazing. He's amazeballs. I was really excited to be married, but I started to realize that there was just this baggage that I had from gaining weight, and I wasn't healthy as I wanted to be. I want to go on adventures and climb mountains and play in parks, and I can't really do all of those things. And then the other thing that happened is I am a relatively successful businesswoman. I'm a director of a national company, and I was starting to feel a little judged and a little hindrances because of my weight. And one of the huge things that happened was I went on a business trip, and the flight there was fine, and I always fly business class because it's a little more room. And on the way back, business class was full, so they set me in an exit row. And so I'm sitting in the exit row, and usually when I get on the airplane, I ask if they have a seatbelt extender. And I do it really discreetly so that it's not a big deal later, and sometimes I need it, and sometimes I don't. And so I asked, do you have a seatbelt extender? And they gave me a seatbelt extender, and I made my way to my seat. Well, I'm sitting in my seat, and the woman comes, the flight attendant, to do the pre-shift, can you sit in the exit row, are you fine? And so she's starting to give the speech, and she looks down at me and she says, oh, ma'am, is that a seatbelt extender? And I said, yeah. And she's whispering, but it's kind of like stage whispering because we're on an airplane and people can see. And so she says to me, ma'am, I'm sorry, but if you can't fit on the airplane like a normal person, I'm going to have to ask you to switch seats according to federal regulations. Which, first of all, who the heck uses the word normal person? Like, rude. And so I'm super embarrassed, and she looks at the rows, behind me, and she says, does anybody want to switch seats and take the exit row? And everybody raises their hand, because who doesn't want to take the exit row? And so anyway, so people are raising their hands, and then she looks at me and discreetly says, "Ma'am, maybe you want to just like try to see if the seatbelt will fit without the extender." So people are like literally looking at me, and I have to like raise my belly up and try to get the seatbelt to fit, which it did. And then she's like, "Oh, never mind, we don't need anyone to switch seats." And I was so mortified. And by that time, another flight attendant had seen what happened and came and was like, gave me back my seat extender and was like, "I'm so sorry." I'm a good flyer. Like, I have a lot of miles, lady. And she gave me a drink and she apologized. But it was just like, it was one of those moments, you know, where I'm like, I just want to fit in the seat like a normal person. I want to sit in a wood chair and hope that it holds me. I want to go to a restaurant and go into a booth and like not worry that I'm not going to fit into it. Those things are like, they're important to me. And it doesn't matter how cute my lipstick is or how pretty my shoes are. Like those things matter to me. And the other thing that happened is I was healthy. You know, I was relatively healthy, but I can only sustain this weight for so long. So, moving forward, I went to the doctor in January, and I weighed in at 346 pounds. 346. I don't care how good your shoes are or how nice your jewelry or flair is. That is a lot of weight, people. Like a lot of weight. A lot of weight. I mean, so there's classifications of obesity. There's like obesity and then morbid obesity and then severe obesity. And I had a BMI of like, I don't even know, 50 something. And I was past all that and I was to super obesity, which is like, should be like it's a superhero thing, but it's not. It's not. It's actually not good to be super obese. And I was so upset because I thought, like, with a BMI that big or a classification of super obese, I feel like I should be, you know, sitting at home eating Gilbert grape or something. Like I need to be wearing muumuus and eating bonbons and like throwing things at people when they don't make me full pans of macaroni and cheese or something. But that's not how my life was. I was going to the gym and I was trying really hard to be active. So I discussed it with my doctor and we talked about gastric bypass, weight loss surgery. And to be honest, I've always felt like that's cheating, you know, like that's what the people who can't really work out enough do, or like you just don't have enough discipline to hang with the big kids or something. And that's what everybody says, like, oh, she lost weight without surgery. And I was so biased. But I did a lot of research. I went to a lot of groups. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. And I decided that it was what was best for me. And I made that decision with my husband. And truthfully, it's been pretty private. There's, you know, a couple handfuls of people who know, my family and really close friends who have been amazing and supportive. But that's all. Because it's private up to this point. Someday it's going to be much more public. Maybe like when I start posting YouTube videos. So anyway, so before I did my my gastric sleeve, I had to do a pre-op diet and I had to lose 30 pounds. I see videos where people talk about like 10 pounds or no, 30 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Like I feel like if I could lose 30 pounds that easily, I probably wouldn't need the sleeve. But I was on a modified liquid diet. I'm sure I'll talk about this whole thing more in detail later, but I did it. I lost 30 pounds. So when I went to weigh in on Monday for my gastric sleeve, I was 316 pounds. So I was down 30 pounds, which is exciting. And today I weighed in at 310 pounds, which is very exciting. And so I had my sleeve on Monday, and my best friend and my husband came with me, and it really wasn't that terrible. You know, one of the things that's most interesting to me is how not hungry I feel. Everybody said, oh, you're not going to be that hungry. Just be prepared for that. Like, they remove your hunger gland. And I'm like, yeah, right, you don't know me. Like, I'm a big girl. I know how to eat. You know, there's always the people who are like, oh, I'm really emotional and so I don't eat, or I'm really sad, or I'm really sick and so I don't eat. I'm like, I'm really sad, so maybe you should get me some cookies. That's how I feel. But anyway, I really haven't been hungry. I went to the hospital last night. That's important to share. I went to the hospital because I woke up with really bad leg pain, and I'm really afraid of clots. I'm really afraid of that. I would just prefer to not die at this moment. Yeah. So I woke up with bad leg pain and then some nausea and some vomiting, so I went to the hospital, and then I ended up just being dehydrated. So they gave me a IV, because that goes back to like the not eating thing. It's actually really hard to eat. And that's what I have to say about my surgery so far. I'm glad I did it. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I feel confident that this is going to be a tool in my wheelhouse. I feel, I don't know, I just feel encouraged. I wanted to show you what surgery looks like. I'm going to show you my big belly. No judgment, people. If you're looking at the weight loss video, you can't judge. No judgment. So I had 5 incisions. I'm going to stand up and show you. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy. Yeah, not so much sexy. But if you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incisions. This one hurts like a bad word. It's really, these 2 are the only 2 that hurt, but this one especially. Rumor has it that's because that's where they take your stomach out of your little hole in your body. So it makes sense that that hurts. So that's it. It's, 5 days post-op. I am trying really hard to get my water in. I'm glad I did it. And I want to make these videos because I want to be an encouragement to people like people were an encouragement to me. I hope that I am a success story, and someday you will see my before and after, and instead of thinking, man, that girl took the easy way out, you'll think, man, that girl is somebody who worked hard and inspires me. So that's all I got. I feel like I should have some sort of like theme music or sign off, but I don't have that right now. So bye.